What's up, sons? It's Blind Rod with Son of a Tech once again, and today we have yet another talking head video. Today we're going to be talking about the strategies for, of course, building up your home mining farm to increase your passive income. We will be talking about, of course, power requirements, as well as the strategies I've used and a lot of other cryptocurrency miners have used to increase their passive income, right after a word from our sponsor. At this point, most of you should be familiar with today's sponsor, PrimeXBT. As such, they want me to take this time to provide a short update on the PrimeXBT platform. If you remember, they have a fantastic copy trading module where you can follow the strategies of established traders. There has been massive volatility in the market recently, but you can find traders that make money on both sides of the market and follow their strategies. It doesn't matter if the market is going up or down, there are always opportunities. Pay attention to the descriptors. For example, if the word short is contained within the name, it's likely the trader is on the bearish side of the market, and during a falling market, it's better to follow a strategy where the trader leans towards trading bear markets. Register an account with PrimeXBT. Take a look and do your own research. The platform contains many statistics to help determine which trader suits your style, but ultimately it's your decision on how you invest. Remember, any form of investing comes with significant risks, so do your own research. Use promo code SONOFATECH at sign up for a 50% bonus. Welcome back. So first things first, this is not financial advice, and do all of this at your own risk. That being said, these are also the strategies that I have used to basically increase my passive income within cryptocurrency. We're specifically going to be talking about mining only. There are other revenue strategies that we have talked about previously, so definitely check out those videos for what to do with the cryptocurrency you've mined if you want to double down on basically earning even more passive income. That being said, what I assume we've started with here is, let's just say, your gaming rig. You have one GPU in that gaming rig and you have been mining with it and earning some passive income. You may be tempted to spend that cryptocurrency by either trading it for other cryptocurrency or maybe even just cashing it out to buy, an extra beer or a six-pack for the weekend, but you need to hold off there. The point here is to increase your passive income. So you should always be reinvesting it into things that allow you to earn more passive income. In relation to mining, what that means is that you need to basically buy more graphics cards or ASIC miners, depending. Now, we focus on graphics cards primarily due to the fact that as a home miner, they are typically quieter and they are cheaper and they have resale value. What this means is that once you are basically done with the GPU, you will be able to recoup some of your cost or initial cost on purchasing the GPU by selling it on the secondhand market. With ASICs, you won't have that opportunity in most cases because they will become unprofitable, and when they do, there's nothing better to do with them than run them over with a bulldozer, essentially, just as you see is happening in China right now as the bans go through. All right, so that being said, how do you do this, right? So let's just take an example of a 3060 Ti. And right now on Ethereum, after a cost of 10 cents a kilowatt hour, you would be making $3.02 a day. Now, an RTX 3060 Ti is going to run you $400 to $600 depending on where you purchase it from. My suggestion here is to start getting familiar with your local Best Buys, any local electronic stores, micro centers, and the like, and actually waiting in line to get one at retail. The point here is to not be overpaying, especially if you're just starting out, because if you start overpaying right away, you're going to slow down your ability to increase the size of your farm, and thereby, of course, you will be decreasing your passive income. So let's take, for example, a pretty standard price of $500, and we'll take a calculator out here, and we will just go ahead and do the $500 divided by $3, just as an example. It would take you 166 days to basically recoup your cost on a GPU. So if you were building a mining farm and you've been mining with a 3060 Ti in your gaming rig and you're ready to upgrade to a second card, you can go ahead and purchase one after 166 days. This will just start getting cut in half, right, every time you add another GPU. So if you had two, it would take you 83 days to buy another GPU. So every time you basically have enough to purchase another GPU, you need to be taking it out and purchasing a GPU to expand your home mining farm. That would be the idea here. Now, the next portion of this, of course, is going to be the fact that once you have a certain amount of GPUs, your motherboard will not support it. So you will have to save up and add additional costs for both power supplies as well as other motherboards. So the best bet is to go ahead and head on over to something like Amazon and find yourself a mining motherboard that supports at least 6 GPUs, as well as a power supply that will support the 6 GPUs as well. We're going to start with that. And once you get the idea of how to build those, you can go from there. I have plenty of guides on building mining rigs, and definitely go check those out. But the idea is that you will basically just be buying a GPU or something to allow you to install more GPUs into a system every time you have enough to do so. And you will just basically start to snowball your profitability. And that is essentially the strategy that you would want to use. So next is going to be talking about your power at the house. And this is going to be a big deal. We've talked about power previously, and you should definitely go check those out. But suffice to say, you are going to be restricted by the amount of amps coming into your home panel. A typical home panel would be about 200 amps. You will have to take into account all of the rest of your appliances, including your AC unit, your stoves, and your dishwashers, etc., and make sure that you have that all sorted. As soon as you can, though, you should be looking at trying to upgrade to some sort of 220. Now, LP6 is typically going to be that plug type that you want to get, and that'll allow you to run PDUs that you can then disperse out that 220 to different mining rigs. Now, this kind of install, let's say if you wanted to do a 60 amp circuit split into 230 amp plugs, you are going to be looking at $2,000. So that will be the bulk of your purchase once you get past a certain threshold. A standard 20 amp circuit at 120 would essentially be 20 times 120. So I'll give you guys an idea. If you did 20 times 120, you would have 2,400 watts to run essentially a GPU mining rig. That's going to give you, in general, depending on the card, in the case of the 3060 Ti, a 6 to 8 card rig. And that would be off of a one single 20 amp circuit. You should be trying to do the 80% rule though as well, so you have enough overhead on that. So you would actually multiply this times 0.8. And then that would be what you would have, which would be about 1,900 watts. So that's why I say if you wanted to do like a 6 card rig, make sure you tune them in right. That's what you're going to get off of a 20 amps, 120 volt circuit, at least in the United States. And you are going to basically typically have a 20 amp circuit running to each room. So you could, in theory, depending on how many rooms you have, you could have a mining rig per room. But eventually you are going to want to upgrade the power, and that cost should come in probably after you have, capped out a couple of your 20 amp circuits and you're ready to go. So if you have a 3-bedroom, maybe that's 3 rigs. If you have a 2-bedroom, then that would be 2 rigs, and so on and so forth. So essentially what you would end up looking at, right, is let's go back to our what to mine. Let's say we have finally gotten our first 8 card 3060 Ti rig, and let's calculate that out. You would be making $24.23 a day after power cost of 10 cents a kilowatt hour. And you would need to essentially next step before buying your next GPU, in my humble opinion, upgrade your power, which is going to cost you around $2,000 depending on who you get and where the permits are. Also, your geographical location is going to impact that, but for sake of argument, let's just go ahead and divide that by 24. You would have it 83 days before you could upgrade your power and then start moving on to another rig. Of course, a few caveats here too, because a lot of people do this. There were people running extension cords from one room that had a different 20 amp circuit to the room that they wanted to keep their mining rigs in. Don't do this. It's very dangerous. It's a fire hazard. Another thing that I would like to mention is buying fire extinguishers for every room that has a mining rig in it. Because if you have a fire with a mining rig, it will more than likely be electrical. And in that case, you aren't going to be able to put it out with your, standard air or water. You're just going to have an electrical fire. You'll need a fire extinguisher to handle this. We do cover the parts and kind of how to prevent fires in all of our how-to videos, so definitely check that out. So essentially what you're looking at for expanding your mining farm, like I said, the strategy is going to be mining and then taking that profit and purchasing another thing to mine with, whether that be a GPU or an ASIC. Now, a big thing about this is at the end of the year when you're ready to file taxes, you get with a tax attorney or a CPA and you have all the receipts for all your GPUs. Even serial numbers will be helpful, all that sort of thing, how much you paid for them, all of that, because you will not have to pay the income tax in theory, right? Depending on your geographical location. That's why I say get with a CPA. I am not a financial advisor, nor am I a CPA or a tax attorney. Get with somebody like that, and they will tell you essentially what you can write off and what you cannot. A lot of people like to take it and basically do a depreciation on the GPUs, which allows them to write it off over time. Let's say like 3 to 6 years or whatever that may be. That's very common in IT departments in companies as well, where they will, buy a laptop for, one of their employees, and then that will be depreciated over a certain amount of years. I would definitely look at options like that as well. But the point is that by essentially just reinvesting in your home mining farm over and over and over again, you will basically be able to avoid that huge income tax, because you'll be able to write that off as a cost. Now, that will, once again, go talk to somebody that knows your situation, is familiar with it, so you don't get into any hot water legally, right? That pretty much covers it. That's what I did. I just started buying GPU. Now, when we got into this last bull run, I did go pretty ham. I went hard in like September. I sold some cars. I had a bigger initial investment, which meant that I was making more, which meant that I was able to buy more GPUs faster. If you have a way to do that and you want to take that risk, that's up to you. But there is always the slow and steady. Start with what you have and continue to reinvest that, and eventually you will get there. So that would be my primary method of basically getting into cryptocurrency mining and expanding your home mining farm. Once you get past, of course, those, 2 30 amp plugs, which would be, if we want to do that calculation real quick, let me do that for you guys. So that would be, I believe it's like 13,000 watts, but we'll do 60 times 220. That would be 13,200 watts. Once you get past that, which, at this time is probably going to be around 3 to 4 gigahash, somewhere around there, maybe a little higher. It's 3 to 5 gigahash, depending on the GPUs and how well you've managed to do it. Once you get there, my recommendation is going to be that you get some sort of mining shed, or you move out to an alternate location so that you can expand that further, because that's a lot of amperage coming in already, right? And if you have a 200 amp panel, at your home, you are going to have to upgrade that panel at that point, more than likely to a 400 amp if you're trying to do it in your house. It's also going to get very loud. It's also going to get very annoying, and it's just not going to be good for that home life. So once you get past there, because I've been there, that's when you want to start looking at upgrading even further. It can be very scary too, so I want to do a word of warning here. Once you start getting past that threshold of a few rigs is when you start having more and more risk put on basically yourself. At this point, like we're going into a bear market, my profits are going down, 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 down. The only way to compensate for that is to invest more, but you can't invest more because everything's starting to go down. And that is basically how it rolls. The idea is that if you can make it through a bear market mining, then once you get to the next bull run, you're going to be set for life, right? So just keep your head down, even if it's a little bit of profit. We'll probably go down to, presumably here at the end of 2022 is when I would predict that we are going to potentially hit, the lowest of the lows. We could be sub $1 a day on a single 3060 Ti, right? And that's after power cost. And you're gonna, at that point is when you're gonna start trying to hold as much and just cover your power costs, even out of your own pocket, so you can hold that cryptocurrency for the next bull run, which in my predictions, just looking at previous cycles, should be in 2024. I hope that covers everything. I know that there were some questions like, how do you do that? What should you be doing? It sounds simple talking it through, but there's, some nuance there that hopefully you found a gem that was helpful, that you said, oh, I didn't think about that before. And it enables you to basically be successful and increase your passive income and thereby increase your quality of life, because ultimately that's what this is about. And obviously I've taken some alternate ways to create more revenue streams because I'm doing this all by myself. I know a lot of people have basically come together previously and built big mining farms with family members, or even gone out and gotten loans, etc. And that's great. They've been successful. I think for someone that maybe was more in my position, which is that middle to lower middle class, it's just trying to get some passive income and take some financial pressure off, this is a way you can do it. And I hope that everybody finds success in it. Once again, this isn't financial advice, and only invest what you can lose, because it can go down pretty hard, pretty fast, and it can be a very bumpy road. Those alternate revenue streams, like I've talked about, or that I mentioned, is like the YouTube channel, right? Which is teaching you guys what to do. Obviously, I do that to double down. So now not only am I farming and mining, but I'm also teaching people to do it so I can get ad revenue. And then I can take that ad revenue as well and reinvest that, which I did a lot of. And I can basically push it up and start snowballing it, right? And that was the plan, to basically be able to not necessarily quit working, because it is a lot of work, but be able to work on my own schedule and take care of the kids and be able to do a lot of the stuff with them. So if that sounds like something you're trying to do, then I've been there and I'm trying to do the same thing. And it is a bumpy ride though. So be prepared for that. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next Tuesday. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to see more. Also, you can check out this playlist for more content talking about cryptocurrency.